Right folks, you join us cutting a bit of angled steel, 70 by 50 by 3mm, twice. Drill some holes, 4 holes, one at each end of each piece. These are going to locate on the rolling road. At either end of the rolling road, if you're looking at it as a trailer, or either side as you drive onto the rolling road. So I put these pieces on to accurately locate it, as you can see here. Lovely. Now I'm going to hold that in so I can translate that hole into the rolling road and drill through there. Do it twice, and then of course at the front end of the rolling road as well. So initially, old-fashioned cars, most are rear-wheel drive. You put them in the rolling road, you roll the wheels a bit and they find their seating. And all cars will do that, front drive as well, if you leave the steering wheel alone, providing the tyres are inflated and the alignment is good. And then in the old days, a fourth gear with 100 horsepower, say, not really a big problem, so they just put a chock in front of the wheels. That was it, maybe both front wheels chocked. There's no real safety considerations in there yet. Now I'm drilling some holes for the middle sections, which are going to be U-section, as you can see here. These U-sections, I then translate the holes from the rolling road into those and drill those holes out, I think initially to a 10, that's a 10, and then we have a problem. My 12.5mm drill has lost its edge, so I'm going to sharpen it. I'm going to be using my trusty drill doctor. So back to the drilling, and obviously that goes through no problem at all. 4 more of them, and of course there's 8 because there's 2 of these U-channel sections, and they go in there. This is not my idea, I took it from a friend, but it's genius, and I'll show you towards the end of the video how this is going to be a really good solution for holding cars down. So a little more drilling, but don't worry, it's done. Hole saw at each end of those U-section channels, and then I cut the remainder out, as you can see here, to allow a ratchet strap connection, and I want it to be easy to get in and out, so I've opened out those ends. Look, there's no real strength missing from those, it's all in the edges there where it bolts up. Lovely. Lovely. Now as cars got more powerful, the chock was no longer enough. This thing was trying to pull its way out of the rollers, and a very powerful car, even if it's in 4th gear, will do that. So as a very minimum, you have to have a strap on the back of the car, and that will hold it in. And that's what a lot of rolling road operators do. So as a minimum requirement, really, providing nothing goes wrong, for almost infinite power, you just need to stop it from going where it wants to go. I've always wanted a belt and braces approach to this. I want it to have, if a tyre fails or if a strap fails, we're still okay. I've had a strap fail on me on a rolling road, and it's not a comfortable experience. Right, now genius part, these U-sections are going to have 4 holes all the way through them. As you can see, I've used a 10.2, I think it's just the bit I had that was long enough to go right through and translate the hole accurately to the other side, because it's nice and flat, this thing. It's perfectly sort of square. Do that 4 times on each one, and that gives me a few options for the, as you'll see later, method of holding the car down. Right, so we're back to the same 50 by 70 by 3mm angled steel. Need 4 of these. Now these are going to go here between the U-section and the end angle steel, like that. So you can have the 2 straps holding it down, fulfilling the purpose of holding the thing into the rollers, and then you could have some safety aspects too. So you could have another 2 straps here, or another 2 straps forward facing or coming off directly sideways, that holding the car left and right should it fail a tyre or something like that. Another thing you can do, you see some rolling road operators have straps at the back and straps at the front, so if you fail one, you've still got one holding it in, and I suppose the 2 at the front will hold it from going sideways, but they're not doing a great deal. Something else you can do is replace the old chocks idea and put a strap over these wheels, completely holding them in place. That's good too, but I think you'd be wise to have something stopping it doing this action at the back as well. So you could have straps like this and then 2 sideways straps. Anyway, all of this, everything I've said so far, leads to the situation you see quite a lot on YouTube of wheel spin. Get a high horsepower car, 700, 800 horsepower say, and you begin to get wheel slip. That's an issue. None of the methods of strapping I've talked to you about will stop that. So you get these knurled rollers, and what you do see a lot of is people sitting in the back, like 10 people sitting in the boot of an RX-7 or something like that, holding it down to try and get that traction. Well, what I'm doing on this rolling road gets around all of that to hold them in place. So with those tacked in place, you can see I've essentially created 4 squares in the top of the rolling road. I can use those bits of steel I've put in now as supporting framework, if you like. So the U section is going to help hold the car down, and the rest of it is a framework around where the wheels of your car will drop into the rolling road, you see, onto the rollers. So now I'm welding those up permanently, and you can see I'm waiting around between. I'm trying to leave time for the heat to soak into the surrounding steel and the weld area to cool right down, hopefully minimizing distortion. Yeah, anyone who's done anything like this before will know that that's hard to avoid, actually, distortion. So let's see what happens when I take all the bolts out. Jeez Louise. So we start with the hammer. That's not big enough. I'm going to get the bigger hammer. Got the big copper hammer, which is a lot more mass to it, and that's finally getting them out. As it transpired, they have shrunk a bit, but there ain't much in it, and they actually hold themselves in quite nicely. So you can tap them into position and then just slide the bolts through. So I didn't actually come to a point where I needed to angle grind anything off. They were perfect as they were, really. So with those on the floor, there's just a few welds I couldn't get to initially to finish the job. I want these nice and strong because the car will be driving over these. So when you strap a car down like this, the straps are not only pulling the rollers down, you'll never have a traction problem. They're also holding the car from going forwards, and if you offset them slightly backwards, so they slope slightly backwards, you can also keep equal load on the front and back rollers. They're also going to stop this thing going sideways. As soon as there's some sideways movement, there is a reactive sideways component to its tension, which pulls the car central again. So they're holding the car left and right, they're holding it forwards and backwards, and they're giving it extra grip. And the beauty of it is you can fail one, and one will do the job all by itself. It will hold it left, it will hold it right, it will keep it in, it will keep it safe. So it has safety aspects and traction aspects, and is fail safe. The two are not working against each other like when you have straps going in opposite directions. When one fails, the other is still doing the same job. In addition to this, I still want something extra. I think I might be strapping the front wheels to the ramps. I think that's the way I'm going to go. It's quick and it's easy. I've then got 4 straps on the car, and as an absolute, if it really goes completely out of control sideways, I want to put a bar on the side of here, something which looks a lot like a Sheffield bike stand, to stop the car. It would hit the wheel. It would be designed to hit the wheel, not the bodywork of the car. One on each side. If it really fails in a miserable way and goes off sideways, that will stop the thing from leaping off the rolling road. So this is the arrangement I'm going for, and I'm going to show you how I achieved it. Right, we're on to the genius bit of the plan now. This is 18mm, I think, 3mm wall. Would that make it 12 in the middle? Yeah, 18mm, 3mm wall. I'm chopping them into 88mm lengths. And I'm going to, it's a bit longer than 88mm, neaten them up on the lathe in a moment. So these correspond to the holes I drilled through the U-section steel. So I need 8 of these, and I'm going to pass an M12 bolt right through the whole assembly. And these are going to form little rollers for a ratchet strap to pass underneath. There we have the 8. Now into the lathe. Very satisfying. I love my lathe, it's flipping brilliant. You should all get a lathe, they're amazing. Neaten up that end beautifully, look at that. And then wind the speed of the lathe down a bit, run a file past the edge. Neaten up that edge, and then I use a, whatever that thing's called, countersink tool, to leave a not particularly neat edge internally, which I did then neaten up with a file. And I've got to do that 16 times. And this is the end result. You can see now the nuts aren't on, but that's how it's going to look. And this U-channel will be exposed. So I took a spare bit of this, 90 by 90. And chopped it to give me these 4 tabs. Let's keep chopping. So we take those, we half those basically, but diagonally to make a little, nearly a triangle anyway. 8 of those now. Do a bit of centre punching. Rapid fire. Draw those out, start with a 6, 10, 13 or something like that. And that's finished. So I'm going to drill each one of those, and then I want to do a little bit of shaping just to round some of the edges off and grind some of the pins away for welding. So again, replicate that 8 times.
There they are, aren't they beautiful? Now to complete that we need some 40 something, 44, 42 millimeter, I can't remember, lengths of the same tube, 20 millimeters diameter, 4mm wall. And I'm using the lathe for an important job now to get the sizing right.
There you go, 42, perfect.
42 millimeters, that's it. Now you're going to see what I've been making. So these are ratchet handles I bought. They're for a full-size ratchet strap, but the handle itself is just a fraction shorter, which keeps it a nice and snug fit on the side of the rolling road, which you'll see shortly.
There we go, ready to be welded on onto the side of the rolling road.
Aren't they sweet? 4 of them ready to go.
Next thing, I've got hold of some of this 3mm or 30mm diameter, 3mm thick, 304 stainless steel, and I want to put it on here so that the ratchet strap can go over the edge and then down to here where it's ratcheted nice and smoothly without snagging and fairly friction free. So I've cut from the stock 4 125mm lengths.
So although I don't show you all of the cutting, I don't want to bore you, I cut actually a channel out of this one, as you can see there, look, so all 4 of those will slide onto the side of the rolling road. Made them nice and tight, and then the ratchet is going to be welded there. So all that needs attaching now. So using, obviously I got the positioning of this right, but I don't show you the 10 minutes it took me to get it exactly where I wanted it. So tack those on and then weld them in place. With a little bit of a wobble in my hand, as you can see, trying to do a nice weld pool. And although I don't show you, I do actually weld these on the inside as well, so the connection to the chassis is incredibly strong, much stronger than the ratchet strap, and much stronger than it needs to be. So here's the second one. So I'm putting 2 of these on each side, although I only show you the first 2. Obviously there are 4 of them.
Let's welding these brackets on. I've welded on these, so there's 4 of them. I've welded those. They're 304 stainless, and I've used whatever, I can't remember what it is, I've had it years, but whatever's recommended for welding mild to stainless. 316 or 318 or something, I'm not sure. And I've sealed it up because I know there's a lot of bimetallic corrosion issues, so I'm going to paint the whole thing and that'll be fine. Something else I've done off camera, I've welded these nuts on here so they're captive, and now you only need one spanner to get these on and off. So they're all done, and these ones too, so just undo the bolt and the nut is welded to the frame. So for the purposes of making good on my promise in the thumbnail, this is how you will strap a car down. So I'm going to use this to simulate your axle of your car, okay? We've driven onto the rolling road, your wheels are here, they're going to rotate like that, and this is the axle of your car. What we do is we put the ratchet strap in here, we'll go under here, up over the top of your axle, back under those little rollers, and then over the edge of the rolling road. This stainless steel bit, I'm assuming the paint's going to wear off very quickly, but that'll keep that from rusting. Into the ratchet strap, and then we can tighten that thing down. We can put a great deal of tension on that, and it will pull the axle downwards into the rollers. I've got options too. We can go with the rear 2 or the front 2, depending which way the car's got on. We can pull the car into the rollers. As they have a tendency to climb out of the rollers, you can put more force on one side than the other. Or if the suspension arrangement is just such that we need to have slightly different positions, I've got options. That's it. What do you think of that? And I have everything I need to start assembling this rolling road, which is very exciting. This is a real turning point for the project. It's been a pleasure showing you what I'm doing. Share it with your friends if you like it. Leave a comment or a like, it all helps my channel to grow. Thank you very much. Bye for now.